Welcome to Sports.
Oh, I didn't know you were going to.
Welcome to Sports Done Right. I'm your host, Hunter Wright. This is my brother and co-host, Chase Wright. I'm not doing I'm not doing this over again, so that's gonna have to stay.
I'm cool. I'm fine with it.
And it is a busy time in the NFL. The NFL trade deadline is tomorrow, Tuesday, November 1st at 4 p.m. And we've already seen a lot of activity so far.
That'll be during my after-school nap.
So when Chase wakes up from his after-school nap, we'll know exactly who was traded and who wasn't. But before that, there were 4 Michigan State Spartans suspended in a fight following the Michigan game, and I use the term fight
Wouldn't call it a fight.
Very loosely. Bugging would be more accurate. We're going to go over the NFL trade frenzy. A bunch of players have already been traded, including last week Christian McCaffrey traded to the 49ers, which seems like overkill for them. Todd Gurley has officially retired from the NFL. And we're going to look at a few assistant coaches that deserve a shot at being a head coach in the NFL, as there's already one vacancy in the NFL that needs to be filled. And when the season's over, there will probably be several more.
Oh, yeah.
And then offensive and defensive players of the week. So,
no, it's not Doug Peterson. I've seen that.
No.
If we fire Doug.
Someone should probably be fired for this, though.
I mean, they need to get the
security should be fired.
You saw them run away in the video?
Following, we don't have the video here, but Michigan State has suspended Tank Brown, Harry Crump, Angelo Gross, and Zion Young following...
Indefinitely?
I believe so.
Okay. I mean, they don't need to return to the team after that.
Following this incident, which included jumping 2 Michigan players after the Michigan State-Michigan game, in which Michigan State lost 29-7 to their evidently very hated rivals.
I mean, it makes no sense because you have all game to, hit someone and do all that. But you want to wait till after the game you lose by 22 points. And, I mean, you jump a guy that's all alone.
And crack another guy over the head with a helmet.
Yeah, that one was... I haven't seen that. I don't want to see it.
You're not... None of you are Aaron Donald or Myles Garrett. You don't have that impunity.
I will say, though, he got hit with a nice... Those are nice.
Only you would say at least...
Not even...
At least the weapon...
No disrespect. I'm just saying, there's some nice helmets.
At least the weapon in question was stylish. Only you would say that. Was stylish. But Jim Harbaugh wants criminal charges brought on these men. And
I mean, he should. I
believe that's in the works. This was a straight up mugging. This was...
I don't want to be over exaggerating, but I feel like we're not in this scenario.
This is on the streets in the middle of the night and in a dark alley. This is...
Yeah.
What is happening here?
Look, I understand if you have differences and you guys start fighting, but just complete jumping a guy and then ripping his helmet off and whacking him with the helmet. I mean, it's assault. I mean, you're not even in the game no more.
Where is his team? Why is he over in the... Why is he...
I saw the video of him running in.
There all alone. You run up to the entire... You guys just...
I think he ran up to one player indirectly, and then it led to this.
You guys just destroyed this team. You're going to run up on them after the game?
I don't know.
Regardless,
yeah.
This shouldn't have happened.
Tuck better be coming for his team.
This should not have happened. The Carolina Panthers. What an interesting team this season.
I like the black helmets. That's all I can say.
Again with the helmet.
You're telling me that those all-black uniforms that they have is not sexy?
I'm more interested about the revolving door at quarterback and everyone that's going to be on their way out of this organization than I am about what they're wearing on Sunday.
I'm just saying, I think C.J. Stroud would look nice in the all-black. They should get Stroud.
Yes, they should get Stroud because I want better for Bryce Young. But the Panthers' third-string quarterback, P.J. Walker, we've talked about him quite a few times, XFL fame.
Oh, PJ Walker fans are on here.
Like P.J. Walker. P.J. Walker went 19 of 36 passing for 317 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception.
He's doing everything you're asking him to do.
And on the last play of regulation against the Atlanta Falcons, on the last play of regulation, Walker throws the 62-yard bomb.
Hail Mary.
That would make Patrick Mahomes blush. Actually, it did make Mahomes blush. Mahomes took to Twitter to say that was the best pass by anyone all season.
And it was. I mean, it was a complete dot down the field. I mean, it was like an Aaron Rodgers play.
And that's high praise coming from a guy that's basically cornered the market on
Aaron Rodgers
unbelievable.
in his prime.
Yeah. that's a very high compliment from a man that basically cornered the market on unbelievable. How did he do that throws? And DJ Moore catches it in the end zone.
And everyone's happy with DJ Moore for that moment.
And then he removes his helmet, starts celebrating, gets an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty.
I saw it coming.
Which pushes, when you can't take your helmet off like that immediately following the play like that, I don't understand why. I mean,
play's over.
The play's over. Touchdown has been signaled. Why can he not take his helmet off? I don't see the harm in it, but I don't make the rules.
No, they better be glad we don't make the rules.
Quite a few players, coaches, and officials better be glad we don't make the rules. But he gets the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. It pushes the PAT back from a 33-yard kick to a 48-yard kick, which Eddie Pinheiro missed. Meaning that this game would go into overtime. The touchdown would have won the game if the extra point was good, but without the extra point, it merely tied the game. They go into overtime. Falcons kick a field goal to win it. You should be ashamed of yourself, DJ.
I'm not as mad at DJ Moore as I was when he first did it. Because obviously, yes, he cost them to go into overtime, obviously by extending the field goal range. But the Panthers, they got an interception, I believe, to set themselves up for another. It was a chip shot field goal in overtime to win, and Pinheiro just whiffs. I mean, you got to hit those kicks. I know DJ Moore put you in the situation, but you got to hit these kicks.
Yeah, and I'm not necessarily mad at DJ because it's a penalty that I don't think should have been a penalty. However, you know the rules. You should be disciplined. You should be better disciplined than this. You are a professional. Granted, you're a receiver. They're all crazy. They're all divas. They're all flamboyant. Am I wrong?
Andre Johnson.
Save for Andre Johnson, Reggie Wayne, Larry Fitzgerald, and Keenan Allen. All of them have a little diva, a little look at me, a little.
I mean, I'm gonna talk about you want the ball. I mean, it's probably the most competitive position.
But that's not important though. What's important, like I was saying, you're a professional. You should be better disciplined than this. You should be more disciplined than this. And if you would have just celebrated without removing your helmet, like you're not supposed to do, then the Panthers would have won. And this takes away from P.J. Walker. The great game, the great throw, the great job that this man has done stepping in with Baker playing like shit and being injured. With Sam Darnold, we already know he's shit, but he's been injured.
Been ass forever.
With Jacob Eason breathing down his back for whatever reason.
Did the Panthers put up 14 in this game?
It was 37-34.
I don't know. Continue on.
The Panthers lost 37-34. But, I mean, P.J. Walker got thrown into the fire. He got completely screwed over, got a raw deal. He's doing his best, though. And It's a shame that they
The
have
best
to
he
lose.
can do on this team.
It's a shame you got to lose this way. Moving on. Robert Quinn.
That's quite the pictures.
Robert Quinn has been traded from the Chicago Bears to the Philadelphia Eagles.
I like the move.
I do too, and we're going to grade this move. But first, the details. Robert Quinn was traded to the Eagles for a 2023 fourth-round draft pick. The Bears picked up, I believe, $7 million of his salary this year. The Eagles agreed to void the final 2 years of his contract. Therefore, the Bears are still paying him. He becomes a free agent after this season, and all the Eagles gave up was a fourth-round draft pick. I mean, as you'll see, they got a much better deal on Robert Quinn than the Jaguars got in our next trade that we'll be talking about after this one. But Robert Quinn, currently is 32 years old. Last season, in 2021, he set a Bears franchise record. Now keep in mind that Chicago Bears
they've been a thing since dirt.
The Chicago Bears are one of the founding teams of the NFL. Talking a 100-year-old franchise here. He set the Bears team record for most sacks in a season with 18.5 sacks. Think about some of the
I know he had a good season last year.
And think about some of the great players that have played for the Bears on defense.
Khalil Mack,
Dan Hampton, Richard Dent, Mike Singletary. I want to say Urlacher, but he wasn't a pass rusher. But
I mean, still a good player.
Like all these great players in the history of this franchise, Robert Quinn is the one that holds the record. But so far in 2022, he has played 7 games for the Bears, and in that time recorded 8 tackles and only 1 sack. So why the drop off? Well, I think it comes down to two things really. First of all, man is 32, and it is hard.
I mean, look in that picture of him in the Eagles outfit. I mean, he looks like he's about to turn 40.
He's 32. It's hard to play at that high level and keep that high motor into this advanced age, especially at this position. But 2, the Bears don't have Khalil Mack anymore. Khalil Mack's gone. So you don't have Khalil Mack diverting attention from the offense and blocking schemes. So now they only have to worry about Robert Quinn. They don't have to worry about Quinn's on that side, Mack's on that side, who's got who, how are we going to stop them?
Plus you got Akeem Hicks coming through the middle.
Yeah. Now it's just, all right, Quinn's on that side. But the Eagles just bolster a pass rush that already has Brandon Graham and
I like the trade because even though his stats aren't
Hassan Reddick
like really there for this season, you're just adding another good piece along the D line. I mean, someone's going to get to that quarterback eventually.
Fletcher Cox.
Even if he doesn't, rack up all the sacks, maybe he's drawing some good attention for some other guys to get sacks. So it's really a good team effort and a good team move by the Eagles to pick up Quinn here. Because especially, I mean, they didn't even have to give up that much for him. I mean, the Bears are selling, so I mean, you might as well go and get the top player.
It's like watching the Georgia Bulldogs defense. You can't block everybody.
Yeah, I think they're obviously in win now mode. They're undefeated. He's 32. What does that really matter to them right now?
Yeah, he's 32. They don't have to worry about paying him long term. There's someone that can help us stay undefeated. A little cherry on top. And what do we give up? A 4th round pick? What's that mean to us? We're not rebuilding. This is a team that when they go into the draft, they're not going to be rebuilding. They're going to be reloading.
Facts.
They don't need that pick. The Bears, I feel like they could have. Well, I say they could have probably tried to get more, but like I said, advanced age, lack of production.
They got the money out of there.
Oh, after this year is over, yeah. They still got to pay him for this year. Did you see Roquan Smith, though? He got all teary-eyed.
Yeah,
when addressing the Robert Quinn trade. He said, I have a great deal of respect for that guy. And I think part of the reason why he was crying is because He was thinking, why couldn't it have been me?
No, I mean I would be crying too if I had to play
Yeah.
for the Bears.
But he's gonna miss playing with Quinn. They had a good teammate friendship relationship, and Quinn Smith is trying to get a trade out of Chicago.
I don't blame him.
So grading this trade, I give it an A.
I give it a B plus
Why is that?
because you went A.
Oh yes, God forbid you agree with your brother. The James Robinson trade.
I'm playing. We're gonna differ. I feel like we're not gonna have the same opinion here. After I've been able to like sit back a couple days on the trade.
Oh, you know my opinion.
Oh, I know your
My
opinion.
opinion.
And I agree with your opinion somewhat.
Somewhat, he says. So the Jaguars trade James Robinson to the Jets for a conditional 6th-round pick that could become a 5th-round pick. Which, by the way, I just want to throw it out there. I hate conditional draft picks when it comes to trades. I hate it. The idea of, what if he has to have a certain level of production with you to determine what this pick is going to be. Just iron out a solid deal.
Probably yawning problem.
How dare you yawn while we're
I'm
doing
sorry.
a show?
I just want to say that because I feel like they're just gonna notice that.
We're in the middle of the show here. But Robinson
I'm yawning at Trent Baalke.
Better than what I'm doing.
Yawn.
I'm calling for his head. Robinson was undrafted out of Illinois State in 2020. Now, during 2020 was a prove-it year for Robinson. He had 1,070 rushing yards, 7 touchdowns, 344 receiving yards, 3 touchdowns, 4.9 yards per carry. He was the best offensive player on this team.
Best player on the team, damn near.
Argument can be made he was the best player on this team.
J-Rob. Miss you, buddy.
And it was a great feel-good story, too. Undrafted.
I know.
Coming out of nowhere. The level of production he had. And then the next year, 2021. Urban Meyer had something against James Robinson. I don't know. Did he just resent him for not being Carlos Hyde? Did he resent him for being better than Carlos Hyde? I don't know. But he found himself in Meyer's doghouse.
Does Carlos Hyde have a job right now?
I mean, if Carlos Hyde has a job, it should involve moving boxes. That's all I'm going to say about Carlos Hyde. I don't believe he's on an active roster right now. I don't believe he ever will be again. But Urban Meyer, and we all know the one instance, I think it was the game against the Rams, where Robinson fumbled on his first carry, I believe, and Meyer pulled him out of the game, and he wouldn't put him back in the game. And Trevor Lawrence, the rookie quarterback, had to walk up to his head coach and say, "Hey, why is our best player not on the field?" And then Urban deflected blame, and he blamed it on.
Let's not get into the pit fire of Urban Meyer. Get to the trade.
Well, that year, Robinson had 76 fewer carries. He rushed for 767 yards, 8 touchdowns. He was averaging 5.1 yards per touch on carries and receptions, though. So he's still playing good, despite being phased out of the offense. And then this year, through 7 games for the Jaguars, playing second fiddle to Travis Etienne. He rushed for 340 yards, 3 touchdowns. He caught 9 passes for 46 yards and a touchdown. In his 35-game career with the Jags, he was averaging 62.2 rushing yards per game. He's now on the Jets, which smart move for the Jets after Breece Hall tore his ACL. He's out for the year. They needed a running back. So on behalf of the Jets, I give them an A for this trade.
I as well give the Jets an A.
As for the Jaguars,
I give us a C+.
F.
Give me your reasoning.
First of all, you already know. I knew what we got in this trade before news broke. Like, as soon as Robinson was traded,
Yeah.
I was on the phone with you. What did I say?
You were just saying, watch it be for a 6. Watch it be for a 6.
I said, I guarantee you, all we got was a 6.
And I'm like, nah, we definitely got at least like a higher pick than that.
I said, no, all we got was a 6. News broke. We were on the phone in real time as news was coming out. And when it was announced what the Jaguars got in return, a 6th-round pick, yes, it's conditional. It could become a 5th-round pick. But as of right now, it stands as a 6. We got a 6th-round pick and nothing else. I would have loved to be wrong. Loved to have been wrong. Because running backs don't hold good trade value.
I thought we were going to at least get a 4th.
There's a reason why the Panthers couldn't get a 1st-round pick for Christian McCaffrey. 6th-round pick seemed right. Seemed like something that Baki would settle for. Seemed like something that someone else would offer. And we just cut our losses.
I'm not as mad with the trade anymore now that I've sat on it.
I'm even more mad. Because look at what this leaves us in the backfield. We still have ETN. Good. He's playing great. He had 150 yards in the last game against the Broncos. But our next running back on the depth chart is JaMycal Hasty.
He's all right.
JaMycal Hasty.
I know you saw that run he had against the Colts.
He's a special teams player.
I know, but bro, you gotta look at it this way. You know why we traded James Robinson?
Yes, they don't want to trade him. I mean, they don't not trade him. They don't want to pay him when his rookie contract's up.
Well, yeah, we don't want to pay him. But
They don't want to pay him the money that he earned.
He's not running back 1 anymore.
We have cap room.
I understand.
Keep
that.
Robinson and ETN.
I understand that, but what's the point of paying a guy a lot of money to be second fiddle?
You don't have to pay him a lot of money.
What if he wants him? We can negotiate. Do you know who's in our front office?
And they shouldn't be there. They can't negotiate contracts. They shouldn't be in the front office. That's a separate issue.
I'm just saying. I mean, I understand where we're going with this. I mean, he doesn't fit the offense Doug Peterson wants to run. We're going to give him ETN.
I know what was going through their minds,
and
I disagree with it. Well, it leaves us with JaMycal Hasty as an RB2. By the way,
he's a good backup for ETN. He runs this same type of offense. He'll be all right.
In 4 years at Baylor, Hasty's career high was 600 rushing yards.
Congratulations for Hasty. I'm not saying you don't have to ask a lot of Hasty, but he can go in there on 3rd down or something, catch a pass.
By the way, Hasty was a guy that we picked up off waivers. You know who else was on the waiver wire this year? Trey Sermon, Sony Michel. These are 2 guys that had been waived that we had first choice on if we wanted to pick them up or not. We didn't. They let Sermon go. They let Michel go. But Trent Baalke looked at JaMycal Hasty and said, yes, I want that guy. I want your head examined.
Trey Sermon would have been pretty.
I want your head examined.
But see, again, well, first of all, we had Robinson, so there was no need for them to do that. Because we didn't need that type of runner.
But now we've traded Robinson.
I understand the move, and I don't have a problem with the move. Obviously, I'm going to miss James Robinson a lot. I don't think we should have traded him. But I understand the move.
Reeked of pain.
I just don't like the return that we got. I feel like we kind of just forced him out of Jacksonville.
We traded him for
a guy that's worked his ass off to,
We traded him for the bare minimum.
I don't know.
And I'll just say this. That 6th-round pick, whoever he may be,
won't even end up being on the team probably.
Yeah. 2 years from now, that guy probably isn't even going to be on this team.
Probably going to be on the practice squad for the Los Angeles Chargers.
But, moving on. This has been a running gag on the show. It's been a running gag. The Kadarius Toney missing poster. I've put it up on every show we've run this season. And he has finally been found. We have found Kadarius Toney. Now, Toney was drafted 20th overall in 2021. First of all, by the New York Giants. They have traded him to the Kansas City Chiefs for a 2023 third-round pick and sixth-round pick.
I really want to make a comment right now, but I just know you're going to get on me for it.
Okay, go. Shoot.
As much as I love those uniforms and helmets, we should have not worn a gray face mask. It should have been white. Do you know how much better that would have looked with a white face mask?
This is a sports show, not a fashion show, Chase.
Hey, you said you...
You're right.
Going to get on me.
I should have known it would be about the bigs, but whatever. Toney, he was drafted 20th overall. In 12 games that he played for the Giants, he had 41 catches for 420 yards, 0 receiving yards this season, by the way. 5 carries, 29 yards.
He's always hurt.
He's one of the best offensive weapons I have ever seen play football.
Oh, he's one of the best playmakers I've ever seen touch the football.
I was so disappointed when Toney was drafted to the Giants because I wanted the Jaguars to draft him. I thought they would draft Kadarius Toney and Urban would use him like he used Percy Harvin. The Giants took him, so the Jaguars ended up drafting Travis Etienne. But Kadarius Toney he never fit in New York. They never figured out how to use him.
Who fits in New York?
I don't know. I don't know who fits in New York.
I'm just saying, the Giants and Jets. Hey, but I mean, if he would have came to Jacksonville, we probably would have wasted him too. So I mean, I can't even say nothing. But I'm so glad. And not only is he out of New York, he is on the Chiefs.
Yes. Now I was surprised by his lack of production this year because I thought
he's been hurt.
Brian Dable
hurt.
Brian Dable is the head coach. Brian Dable's offense. Oh, this will be great for Toney. Oh, it didn't turn out that way. But now he's in Kansas City. In Kansas City, they needed a playmaker after losing Tyreek Hill. I mean, they brought in Juju Smith-Schuster and Marquez Valdez-Scantling. And there are no replacements for Tyreek Hill. The two of them combined are not a replacement for Tyreek Hill. But the offense in Kansas City has been humming. It's been full steam ahead. But now you get a playmaker like Kadarius Toney in there. And I thought that Toney would be a great fit for the Chiefs. I thought that he would, if he left New York, if he got out of New York, if he went anywhere, if he went to the Chiefs, that'd be the best place for him. Andy Reid, with a guy like Toney.
Yeah, I was always wanting him to go to the Chiefs. I'm glad he ends up there now. I can't wait to see him in this offense.
Yes. Now, and Toney can be a Hill-esque player. Kadarius Toney, he's 6 feet tall, 193 pounds. Tyreek Hill was 5'10", 185. He's a bigger, stronger Tyreek Hill. Not quite as fast, though. Toney ran a 40-yard dash of 4.39, which under normal circumstances, that's blazing fast. But Tyreek Hill, they don't call him Cheetah for nothing. His 40 time, 4.29.
Who calls him Cheetah?
Tyreek Hill's nickname is Cheetah.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Kadarius Toney.
No.
My bad.
Tyreek Hill is Cheetah.
Yeah.
Toney is New Cheetah.
New Cheetah.
And Toney's shuttle time was 4.25. Toney has the ability to stop on a dime like very few I have ever seen. But
if you haven't seen Kadarius Toney play, just look up his highlights from the 2020 season for the Gators.
Yep. And while you're watching that, keep in mind, he's now playing with Patrick Mahomes. That offense looks
No,
they're
they look lethal.
they're ready for their rematch with the Bills. Oh, that's gonna be a great game. Now, with the trade deadline being tomorrow at 4 p.m., there's still trades left to be made, most likely. Who else could we see get traded? Alvin Kamara, Jerry Jeudy, Chase Claypool,
I don't know.
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen better not get traded because if he doesn't, if we trade Josh Allen, I will not watch another Jaguar game for the rest of the year.
That's just so that we're all on the same page. Josh Allen, quarterback of the Buffalo Bills, is about as safe and secure.
Obviously, we're talking about Josh Allen of the Jaguars.
Yeah.
Alvin Kamara just had himself a game, though.
Alvin Kamara did have himself a game.
Raiders, what the hell?
But the Saints are getting offers for Kamara.
Oh, yeah. I mean, wait, where would a destination?
The Bills have been trying to get Kamara. And just imagine the game of chess between the Bills and the Chiefs this season.
I don't want him to go to the Bills.
Imagine the card game that's being played here. If the Bills got Alvin Kamara, they're like, okay, Kansas City, we see your Kadarius Toney. We raise you Alvin Kamara. Your move.
But what do you grade this trade?
All right, grading the trade. Well, for the Chiefs, I give it an A. They don't need the third and sixth round pick.
I give it a B.
For the Giants, I give it a C.
For the Giants, I give it an A.
Right, you had to move them. Feel like you probably could have got a little more in return.
I think the Giants won the trade, and I say that because he has literally done nothing. For the Giants, I'll respect.
They had to move him.
Obviously, I love Tony, but
I'll give it a B.
Very little production, and they got a third and a sixth out of it. So
this is the guy you drafted 20th overall.
Yeah, A for the Giants, and for the Chiefs, I give it a B because you got a good playmaker, and you know you're going to use him right. But I mean, you did just give up a third and a sixth for a guy that really hasn't played all that much. But I think in the long run, it will be a good move for the Chiefs.
And they got Sky Moore, Kadarius Toney, Juju, MVS, Travis Kelce.
Kelsey's still top weapon.
Oh yeah. But Josh Allen of the Jaguars. I think the Jaguars losing to the Broncos seals Josh Allen's fate. I think Bucky is just. I think he's going to field phone calls for him. I feel like if the Jaguars would have beaten the Broncos, then it's a conversation that wouldn't be had. But after
Same
losing,
thing goes for the Broncos and Bradley Chubb. I feel like if we would have beat the Broncos, then they would have traded Bradley Chubb.
Yep. But Chubb is safe. Josh Allen, I don't think is safe. News may break tonight. News may break tomorrow morning. I'm preparing for the worst. I think they're going to move him. Which he's the best player on this team.
It would make zero sense.
Which is exactly why I think they're going to do it. When do we do stuff that makes sense?
Never.
Moving on. How many good moves has Baki made?
I don't want.
But Jerry Jeudy and Chase Claypool could also be moved.
I don't want any of them.
Oh, not to us.
You said Jerry, Jeudy, and Chase Claypool. I thought you said Juju for a second. I mean, Jerry. Whoa, wait. Oh. I understand the Claypool one because Claypool is not a good wide receiver.
Well, hey, if you were a receiver, would you want to be playing with Russell Wilson right now?
Did he ask for a trade?
He's been in the trade rumor for.
Because I wouldn't just trade Jerry Jeudy unless there was like something behind it. Chase Claypool, he has good size and capabilities, but I don't think he's a very good wide receiver. I think he's a bonehead. I don't think he uses himself very well. He's not high Q at all.
He doesn't have good in game high Q.
We'll stick to the TikToks.
Yeah, he focuses more on that than he doesn't dedicate himself. But I mean, the Packers or Bills could be trying to trade for Judy or Claypool.
Packers need him. more than anything.
Rogers needs a weapon, and the Bills just got to get one up on the Chiefs for this Toney move.
Judy
Stay ahead of the game.
Judy in that green and yellow.
So we bid farewell to Todd Gurley.
This feels so soon. I mean,
This is sad. This makes me sad. It makes me sad because Todd Gurley, we saw him play at Georgia, and he was so good, had so much potential. Then he got into the NFL, and we saw him capitalize on that potential.
His first few years were amazing. I'm thinking he's going to be a Hall of Fame running back.
Well, here's the question that needs to be had. Is he still a Hall of Fame running back after retiring so early?
Kidding me? No.
And Terrell Davis.
No. Look, Todd Gurley was a really, really good running back while he was in the league.
He's not someone I think is going to get in.
I mean, he didn't contribute to anything. I mean, they went to the Super Bowl, but that's what started the downfall.
That's where it all started. He got them to the Super Bowl, and then he didn't get to perform. He had 4 carries in the Super Bowl because he was injured.
Pissed me off.
It was a C.J. Anderson show. It was the most boring Super Bowl of all time.
It was so bad.
But
I'm thinking the Rams are going to win the Super Bowl, and they go in there and put up 3 points, even though all season they've been averaging 33.
But let's look at it this way. Let's say that Gurley doesn't get injured. All right, let's still assume he retires early due to injury. Let's just say he doesn't get injured for the Super Bowl. He plays in that game at 100%. And
the Rams win.
Well, even if the Rams still lose, let's say Gurley goes off. He has 100 yards. He gets a touchdown. Does that change anything?
The Rams were trying to preserve him long term, but nice little fly snack there. But I don't want to say you put your guys at risk, but you don't know if you're going to be in this game again, which in this case they were. But
here's what if you were trying to preserve his long-term health and career, and you were thinking about his health, why even have him active for the game to begin with? Why even give him the 4 carries?
You gotta let him play in the Super Bowl. He got you there, bro. It's not like he has a broken leg. I mean, he was questionable like that whole.
I just think if you're suiting up for the Super Bowl, you're not going in there and you're not half-assing it. Not to say that he did, but you're not doing anything half-assed in the NFL.
Doesn't looking at that picture on the right of the screen just make you miss those?
I do miss those Rams jerseys. But, just Terrell Owens played in the Super Bowl on a broken ankle.
Mine were different, man.
Broken tibia. Whatever was wrong with his leg. A broken ankle, I'm pretty sure. And he had 10 catches and 100 yards.
One of the only Georgia players I actually like.
So if T.O. could do that, I think Gurley could have played. But
he was so good.
But answer my question, though. If he plays in the Super Bowl, has 100 yards and a touchdown, then win or lose, does that change his Hall of Fame candidacy in your eyes?
No, because he had too short of a career.
A career which, by the way, as you can see on the graphic, Todd Gurley still holds the NFL lead for most touchdowns scored since 2015. He scored 79 touchdowns. He hasn't played since 2020.
Bro, let that sink in.
Yes.
Did he ever play for the Falcons?
He did.
And that was in 2020?
Yes, it was. He had 600 rushing yards for the Falcons. Now, Gurley was drafted 10th overall by the St. Louis Rams in 2015. He hasn't played since 2020, but he still has the most touchdowns in the NFL since that time.
It's like a 5-year career.
6 years. He was a 3-time Pro Bowler, 2-time All-Pro. He was 2015 Offensive Rookie of the Year, 2017 Offensive Player of the Year. He led the NFL in rushing touchdowns in 2017 with 13 and in 2018 with 17. He led the NFL in yards from scrimmage in 2017 with 2,093 yards. Now, on his career, he has 6,082 rushing yards, which ranks 94th all time. But he has 67 career rushing touchdowns. That ranks 40th all time. That's more than Fred Taylor, Ricky Williams, Mark Ingram, Thurman Thomas, who's in the Hall of Fame, Larry Zonka, who's in the Hall of Fame, Terrell Davis, who's in the Hall of Fame, Ezekiel Elliott, Chris Johnson, and DeMarco Murray.
I think he's a really good running back. TG3 was a beast, but I just don't think he's gonna get in.
I don't think he'll get in, but I think he's a Hall of Fame. I would put him in the Hall of Fame. If it was up to me, if I had a vote,
I would vote. But it's very...
Obviously, it's a different conversation if he plays in the Super Bowl, and especially if they win that Super Bowl. If you got Super Bowl champion added to that resume. Because Terrell Davis only played 6 seasons, but he had a 2,000-yard season, and he won 2 Super Bowls. So, Super Bowls help. Super Bowls definitely help. Now, assistant coaches that deserve a shot at being head coaches in the NFL. We're doing top 10 here. Now, number 10, I go Joe Woods, the current defensive coordinator of the Cleveland Browns. He was higher on this list, but the Browns' defense has taken a step back. But Joe Woods has been a defensive backs coach in Division III, Division II, FCS, FBS, the NFL. He has literally worked his way all the way up.
You love to see that.
All the way up the ladder. Started off in Division III. He was the Broncos defensive coordinator from 17 to 18, and recently has been the Browns defensive coordinator.
He's probably just one of those guys that's just good defensive coordinator.
Probably like a Wade Phillips. Maybe wouldn't turn out to be a great head coach, but
yeah, I don't think so.
But there are I've heard in some circles that Joe Woods has a good mind for football overall, not just defense.
I don't know really much about the guy at all, considering the fact I just found out about him. But maybe.
The Panthers need a head coach. Maybe this is the guy to keep in mind. Watch, the Panthers are going to hire someone completely out of left field, so I could definitely see it being Joe Woods. The way that team is run.
Stephen A. Smith would enjoy this hire.
We're not getting into that. If you got it, good for you. We're not elaborating on that. You're going to get me in trouble making comments like that, because you know what I'll say.
Just jokes.
Number 9, Shane Steichen.
He looks awfully familiar.
He is the offensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles. The undefeated, unstoppable force.
Bills are better.
Yeah, I think the Bills are a better team too, but the Eagles are undefeated.
They are undefeated. Can't take it from them.
And therefore, Steichen is going to be receiving nods. He's going to be getting attention for that. I think they're 4th in points and 4th in total offense in the NFL right now. Been the coordinator in Philly for 2 years. Before that, he was Chargers offensive quality control, quarterback coach, and offensive coordinator. Now, the knock against him, he only started coaching in 2010, no head coaching experience. And 2010, it's a very short time to be in the game. Moving on, number 8, Don Martindale. the defensive coordinator of the New York Giants.
I can totally see it just by looking.
Now, the Giants are rolling mostly thanks to the man on your right,
They
Brian
look
Dable.
like brothers. Continue on.
Actually, he looks like he could be one of the Ryan brothers.
Yeah, for a second I thought that's who it was.
Martindale, he's the DC for the Giants. Before that, he was the DC for the Ravens from 2018 to 21. The Giants are still they're 6-1 now. They're 7th in points allowed. He started as a secondary coach.
6-2.
They're 6-2 now. Wait, who did they just lose to?
The Seahawks.
Oh, that's right. That was so weird.
Reminiscent?
Yeah, I was reminiscent to when we thought the Seahawks were going to be rebuilding this year.
Yeah.
Shout out to Geno Smith for reviving his career. But
I didn't write that.
The defense is still solid for the Giants. And Martindale started off as a secondary coach at Defiance, which is a Division III school, in 1986. So he should get some head coach interviews.
Oh, he probably will. I mean, the Giants haven't been, this good in a little while.
Yep, number 7, Raheem Morris, defensive coordinator of the Los Angeles Rams over the last 2 years. Now, Morris was the head coach of the Buccaneers from 2009 to 2011. He was 17-31 during that time. But I don't think that should be held against him because these were not the Tom Brady Super Bowl Buccaneers we're talking about. This is, I believe, the Josh Freeman Buccaneers.
Oh, Josh Freeman.
Not going to hold that record against them when you got Josh Freeman. He was also Atlanta's interim head coach.
Where did Josh Freeman go to college?
Josh Freeman went to Kansas State. I believe his career high in passing yards in college was like 2,000 yards.
The fact that you know that.
Yes, I am full of seemingly pointless random knowledge, but Morris, I think, would do good as a head coach now. He has prior experience as a head coach. He's learned a lot since then, what to do, what not to do, what to do different.
I mean, that's $1 million smile.
That's true. And he's acted as a DB coach, a defensive quality control coach, a head coach, assistant coach, secondary coach, receiver coach, passing game coordinator, and defensive coordinator. So he's literally he's worked on both sides of the ball in that coaching room. Moving on, number 6.
Nope.
I know you're not a fan of it, but Dan Quinn should get a second chance at being a head coach.
Nope.
I would at least give him an interview.
I mean, I don't even know if I'd give him a granola bar off my desk.
Okay.
I'm just saying, if he walks in for an interview, he's not getting
Quinn served as Atlanta Falcons head coach from 2015 2020. He was 43-42 in that time, and he was fired after an 0-5 start to 2020. He was 5-3 in the playoffs.
He's a good coordinator.
He has spent the last 2 seasons as the defensive coordinator of the Dallas Cowboys.
What future is Dan Quinn bringing to a team?
Well, I thought that Dan Quinn did a good job to start off his. I thought Dan Quinn was a good hire when the Falcons hired him the first time around. And I feel like mistakes were made. But he's probably learned from that. And he's still an excellent defensive coach.
And he can stay that way on the Cowboys.
I feel like if you're a team that just needs a little bit better defense, Dan Quinn could be your guy. I still think Quinn deserves another chance at being a head coach. That's my opinion. He's worked under Pete Carroll, Steve Mariucci, Mike McCarthy, Jim Mora, and he worked for Nick Saban when Saban was the head coach at the Miami Dolphins.
What, that lasted about 3 seconds?
Oh. You know how long it takes to rack up that many L's? He was head coach for longer than 3 seconds. Saban actually had I think 15-17 record as head coach for the Dolphins. But moving on. DeMeco Ryans is number 5 on the list. Now this one is Chase approved, I see.
Definitely Chase approved. I mean, watching the 49ers, I never see like a big like flaw in the 49ers. I love their staff. I mean, it's just a team I would not want to face. I think they're probably one of the most well-coached teams in the league. And the defense is just always ready, man. I feel like he would be a good head coach. He's young. He's on the come up.
Young for a coach, that is.
Yeah.
Now, DeMeco Ryans, he played middle linebacker.
I mean, he can't be higher than 45.
He played middle linebacker for the Houston Texans and Philadelphia Eagles from 2006 to 2015, and he led the NFL in solo tackles in 2006 with 126. From 17 to 20, he served as a linebacker coach for the Niners, and from 2021 to this year, he has been the defensive coordinator of the 49ers, and he's done a great job with that defense. And he gets hype. He gets his players hype. They love playing for him. He played linebacker, so he's got this connection with them, like Mike Vrabel effect in Tennessee.
Yeah, I feel. See, that's a good example. I feel like he would be a perfect Mike Vrabel.
He's like he would be. This is the next Mike Vrabel, possibly. He has the potential to be. He has all the tools to be the next Mike Vrabel. The Niners, not a great start to the season with the injuries and going back and forth from Lance to Garoppolo, but I think DeMeco Ryans has kept that defense.
They've looked solid.
Intact, and that defense has carried the Niners through some of the hardships that they faced this season. I'd
interview him.
I would definitely give DeMeco Ryans a call. Aaron Glenn, defensive coordinator, Detroit Lions.
We got that bling on him now.
Now, Aaron Glenn, if you watched Hard Knocks, then you know who Aaron Glenn is. I
didn't get to watch Hard Knocks this year.
You still need to watch Hard Knocks.
Still do.
He is an incredibly smart coach. Just really, that's why I think he'd be a good head coach. He's just really smart. He's the old wise man in the room. Now, Detroit's defense has been awful this year. But I don't really hold that against them. He's super intelligent. He should not be blamed for the fact that the Lions are the Lions and have always been the Lions. He was a defensive backs coach for the Saints and the Browns before becoming defensive coordinator of the Lions in 2021. Moving on. Number 3, Kellen Moore.
Approved.
Chase approved. Now, Kellen Moore has been the offensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys since 2019 when he retired from being the Dallas Cowboys backup quarterback.
It's coming. It's not now, but it is coming.
He's going to be a head coach.
He's going to be a head coach. It's coming.
Now, Kellen Moore, winningest quarterback in Division I football all time at Boise State.
You could have just said Division I football history.
Whatever. He's the winningest quarterback in Division I football. And he wasn't really going to cut out. He wasn't going to be a good NFL quarterback. He was a little small. He was left-handed. He wasn't all that good, but he was a great quarterback in college. But now we're seeing that he
was a lefty?
Yeah, Kellen Moore was a lefty. But now we're seeing him run the offense in Dallas as the offensive coordinator. And he's done great things. I mean, they were second in points last season. And even with Cooper Rush playing in place of Dak Prescott, they were still 13th in points.
Yeah, and first of all,
And he's super young. He's only 33.
The man to the left of him, first of all, needs to be starting at running back for the Cowboys.
I agree. He's on my fantasy team.
But Kellen
starting.
Moore can do some wonderful things if he gets the right offense around him and he's the head coach at the right team. It will be coming. I don't think it'll be like in the next few years, but it will be coming.
Teams might be letting him marinate a little more.
A little more.
Maybe a little more seasoning, but he's going to be a head coach. Number 2 on the list.
Probably the most proven one.
Eric Bieniemy.
Chiefs Kingdom.
Now, Eric Bieniemy he's been the offensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs from 2018 to now. Before that,
and we've all seen the Chiefs' offense.
Before that, he was offensive coordinator at Colorado for 2 years before joining the Kansas City coaching staff in 2013 as a running backs coach.
That's what you want. You want to work your way up in a franchise. People see that.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Now, Bieniemy, a lot of people believe should already be a head coach.
He should.
Now, the knocks that are on Bieniemy is
he's got Patrick Mahomes and he's had Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill.
Obviously, that. When he was offensive coordinator at Colorado, it wasn't. There were nothing to write home about. There were nothing that was going to make the news. There was nothing exciting.
Who is doing good at Colorado?
Hold on. So it's not like he had great college success. Comes to the NFL, works his way up to offensive coordinator under Andy Reid. He's got Mahomes, Hill, Kelce, all these weapons on offense. Makes your job as a coordinator much easier. And then there's also the fact that everyone questions how much of this success is actually Bieniemy, how much of it is Andy Reid.
And it's a
how many calls
co-host.
How many calls are coming from Andy Reid? How many decisions are coming from Andy Reid? Because he's the head coach. He still oversees all. So how much of this is really Bieniemy? There are people that think that he is merely, I don't want to say a puppet, but
I think when they ask how much of it is really Bieniemy, I would say a good enough portion to make him a head coach. And I'll leave it at that.
Yep. And number 1 on the list, and someone that I wanted the Jaguars to hire over Doug Peterson, if I'm being honest, is Byron Leftwich.
I have such mixed feelings on this, man.
Now, Byron Leftwich is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offensive coordinator. He has been their offensive coordinator since 2019. He was the quarterback coach and offensive coordinator for the Cardinals from 2016 to 18 before coming to the Bucs and getting, oh, look at that, it's Tom Brady. Prior to this year when he was good. The Bucs have ranked 13th, 4th, and 9th in points under Leftwich. And he's touted as a player's coach who he's willing to get you extra looks in the offense to boost your stats to unlock incentives in your contract.
Look, Byron, I think that's one of the top things about Byron is him being a good players coach. And I would love to see him to be a head coach, and he might be able to work his way there. But I definitely wouldn't hire him right now as a head coach, just because he's very new into the game, and even like listening to him talk, Bruce Arians took him under his wing.
And Bruce Arians is a good one to learn from.
Gave him an opportunity, and obviously he's making the best with it. But him like leading a team and being a head coach of an NFL team is something completely different. Like I could probably see him being like a college head coach or something if he wanted to. Which why would you leave your offensive coordinator job? But I don't know. I don't know if he's just.
Well, if you're on the Bucs right now, I think it's abandoned ship.
I think it's about the money more so at that point. But yeah, I think Leftwich. We'll get there.
Now, from last week, since we did not do a show last week, Offensive Player of the Week, Joe Burrow. 481 yards, 3 touchdowns. He also had a few rushing yards and a rushing touchdown, which makes him the only quarterback ever with multiple games of 500 total yards and 4 total touchdowns. That's insane.
Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, the uniforms.
Defensive player of the week for last week, Marco Wilson. Picture's worth 1,000 words, isn't it? 3 tackles, 1 interception, returned 38 yards for the most picture-perfect pick 6 you'll ever see in your life.
We're a big Marco Wilson fan.
Get him a shoe deal. Offensive player of the week for this week is Derrick Henry, who was a one-man show in the Titans' victory over the Texans. Derrick Henry was the
Of course, right when
offense.
Oh my bad. Of course, right when ETN wants to go off for 150 plus rushing yards, everyone wants to have a monstrous week. You know, you see what Tyreek Hill did in the receiving game, and then you see what this man does in the rushing game.
A.J. Brown had 168 yards and 3 touchdowns.
I mean, the list goes on and on.
Christian McCaffrey had a passing touchdown, rushing touchdown, and receiving touchdown for the 49ers.
Which is the first time since LaDainian Tomlinson did that in 2005.
And him, LaDainian Tomlinson, and Walter Payton are the only 3 to ever do that.
And the defensive player of the week is?
Hold on. Henry rushed the ball 32 times for 219 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was averaging almost 7 yards per carry. You know this man's getting the ball. The Titans started Malik Willis this week at quarterback.
He put up 60-something yards and an interception and didn't matter?
Malik Willis was 6 of 10.
This was the game I was thinking about that was 17-14.
6 to 10 in your NFL debut.
How did the Titans only put up 17? Baffles. But
I'm assuming Henry got hurt. Or not hurt, tired.
Great performance by him.
Almost 7 yards. He has an NFL record 6 career games of 200 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns.
Oh, I'm sure we're one of them.
6.
Us being the Jaguars.
Second place is 3.
I never bought the hype of Jonathan Taylor being running back 1 in the league. I've been saying Derrick Henry. I never gave up on Derrick Henry.
Hey, RB1 until Henry, is recharged.
Well, he's recharged. Now y'all look stupid because Derrick Henry's doing what he's been doing his whole career.
Yep. And defensive player of the week is Kadarius Smith. 7 tackles, 3 sacks, 4 tackles for a loss. Vikings improved to 6-1. That's why I was thinking. The Giants aren't 6-1. The Vikings were 6-1. That's where 6-1 came from. That is this week's show, and next week we will be doing mid-season awards, as week 9 is officially the mid-season point.
My awards will be better. My picks. Also, you see that team right there in the purple?
Anyway, like the video, subscribe to the channel, disregard what he said.
And just know, around here, sports is always done right.